Hi guys, welcome for joining me on my video with translating on the coordinate plane. I'm going to guide you through 4 really straightforward steps and procedures on how to follow a translation on the coordinate plane. And then I've got some more practice for you, so stay as long as you need to on this video for as much help as you possibly need. Okay, let's take a look. Here I have the coordinate point of 2, 1. Okay, that's the coordinate point of 2, 1. If I said to have this point undergo the translation of 2, 3, the 2 is the translation for the x-coordinate. The 3 is the translation for the y-coordinate. If they're both positive, that would mean that I would need to take the ordered pair where it is and then move it 2 units to the right and then 3 units up. That would be the new coordinates of my translated point. So my new ordered pair would simply be 4, 4. Okay, if I took the point 2, 1 and I did it under translation of 2, 3. If I took this same point of 2, 1 and it underwent the translation of negative 2, 3, that would mean to move this point 2 units to the left and then 3 units up for a point of 0, 4. Okay, the first part of the translation is the x movement. The second part of the translation coordinate point is the y movement. If they're both positive, it goes to the right and up. If the x value is negative, it would go to the left and then up for a y positive value. Pretty simple and straightforward. So then here, excuse me, same point, 2, 1. If I went from this point and then I did a translation of 2, negative 3, that would tell me to move it 2 units to the right, and then negative 3 for the y would tell me to move it 3 units down. And that would be my new coordinate point, 2 units to the right and then 3 units down. And the new coordinates here would be 4, negative 2. And the last one, if I was to take this point and move it negative 2, negative 3, that would mean that I would need to translate this point 2 units to the left and then 3 units down. Okay, negative 2, negative 3. So 2 units to the left, 3 units down, and then I have my ordered pair of 0, negative 2. Now, something you might have noticed for all of these is that if I was looking at the ordered pair of 2, 1, I'm really just adding on my translation to make the new coordinate point. So 2 plus 2 is 4, 1 plus 3 is 4. 2 plus negative 2 is 0, 1 plus 3 is 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. 1 plus negative 3 is negative 2. 2 plus negative 2 is 0. 1 plus negative 3 is that negative 2. It's not a coincidence that it works out that way. So now I've got some practice problems that we're going to take a look at. So I'm just scrolling through my screen here. I'm going to move my image over. And let's say I gave you these 2 problems here that you see on the screen, and I asked us to undergo the same transformation that we did as our first one. 2, 3. So first, if I was to transform these 2, 3, I would first look at my pre-image. So my coordinates for my pre-image here are negative 3, negative 1. My coordinate for B is negative 3, negative 4. My coordinate for C is 0, negative 4. Oops. If I wanted to undergo a transformation of 2, 3, 2, 3. That would mean each point gets moved to the right 2 units and then gets moved up 3 units. That would mean I'd add 2 onto my A value and add 3 on to my Y value. Same thing. Add 2 to the X value, add 3 to my Y value. Add 2 to my X value, add 3 to my Y value. And if I was to translate this, and translate really just means to slide it over, we're going to see that this new image, oops, let me grab this one. I'm going to make my new image red so we can tell the difference. If I was to move it over 2 units to the right and then 3 units to the left, these would be the coordinates of my new image. Look, every point, 2 units to the right, 3 units up. And notice that point, A prime, okay, if I label this A prime, is -1, 2, which I got just simply by adding and making the coordinates that way. My B prime is at -1, -1. And my C prime is at 2. Whoops, and that should be -1. My apologies on that. Okay, add 2, add 3, add 2, add 3, add 2, add 3. Pretty good. So now if I did the same thing here, my pre-image, D is at -4, 2. E is at 2, -2. I'm sorry, 2, +2. And F is at 2, -1. So now I can jump right to my image by simply adding 2, adding 3, if that's my translation. So D prime, add 2, add 3. E prime, add 2, add 3. F prime, add 2, add 3. Okay, I'm going to take this image here. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to turn it red. And if I was to translate this and go add 2, so write 2, up 3, you'll notice that each one of these points now, D, E, and F, if I duplicate them here, make them red, add some primes in, they have the exact coordinates that I had before. Okay, that should look pretty good for us. The next kind of translation that we were looking at was to do -2, 3. So 2 to the left and then 3 up. So subtract 2, add 3. Subtract 2, add 3. So A here is 1, 1. B is 1, -2. C is at 4, -2. If I want to translate this to -2, +3, -2, +3, that would mean I would subtract 2, add 3. Subtract 2, add 3. Subtract 2, add 3. Oops, I'm going to make these all red. Oops, 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 oops. I'm going to duplicate this and show you that if I was to take this figure, subtract 2, it would mean that I would be going left 2 units and then up 3. And if you take a look at those points of A prime, B prime, and C prime, I'm just going to copy them right over, add in my primes. You'll see that I have those exact points that I had listed here. Okay. Last one like this. B is at -3, 0. E is at 3, 0. F is at 3, -3. Okay, so now if I want to translate -2, +3, D prime, subtract 2, add 3. E prime, subtract 2, add 3. F prime, subtract 2, add 3. So if this triangle here underwent a translation of -2, so 2 to the left, and then up 3, these would be my new coordinate points. Okay, and my points completely check out with me following the mathematical routine. Okay, the next translation that we did just before was to do a translation of 2, -3. So 2, -3 would mean to take this point, send it 2 to the right, and then 3 down. So we're going to add 2, subtract 3. Okay, so here I have my image A, pre-image rather, of -3, 4. My B is at -3, 1. My C is at 0, 1. We're going to undergo +2, +2, -3. So we're going to go to the right 2 and then down 3. So add 2, subtract 3. Add 2, subtract 3. Add 2, subtract 3. Add 2, subtract 3. Okay. I'm going to make my new figure red. If we were to add 2, it would tell me from here to go 2 to the right and then down 3 units. And these would be our new points. Okay, pre-image. D is at -4, 2. E is at 2, 2. F is at 2, -1. So I'm adding 2, subtracting 3, so I get that translation. Add 2, subtract 3. So D prime, add 2, subtract 3. E prime, subtract 2, add 3. All right, add 2, subtract 3. My apologies. F prime, add 2, subtract 3. Okay, so this translation would be to add 2, subtract 3. So hopefully at this point you're really seeing the connection, how we're taking the translation. We can visually see the translation. We can mathematically calculate the translation. You should be able to see both. Okay. The last one that we did was a translation of -2, -3. So to the left and then down. Subtract 2 and then -3. Okay. So our image A, the image 0, 4. B is at 0, 1. And C at 3, 1. So we're going to move it to the left and then down. So we're subtracting 2, subtracting 3. Subtracting 2, subtracting 3. Subtracting 2, subtracting 3. Okay, so subtracting 2, 2 to the left, and then subtracting 3. Okay, awesome. Last one for us. D is at -3, 2. E is at 3, 2. And F is at 3, -1. We're subtracting 2, subtracting 3. So D prime, subtract 2, subtract 3. E prime, subtract 2, subtract 3. F prime, subtract 2, subtract 3. Come on. Okay. Duplicate. Make that red. Subtract 2. Subtract 3. We have our new points. They perfectly line up with the values that I got. Let's label these up. And this is how easy translations, guys, are. Really no more than this. We're done. I'm going to save this for my own files. I hope this was easy enough for you, and check out my other videos for more information for sure. Bye, guys.